I have here the original Gray Sports Almanac from Back to the Future 2, the screen-used cover. It's been signed by Bob Gale, who wrote the film, Christopher Lloyd, who played Doc Brown, and this is really special. Tom Wilson signed it. He played Biff.
Did Michael J. Fox sign it?
No, Michael J. Fox hasn't had a chance to sign it yet, but hey, maybe we can get him to do it in the future. I have with me today the screen-used sports almanac cover from the movie Back to the Future 2. I'm doing some house renovations. I need a little extra cash. This isn't my first time to the pawn shop. I came in with my DeLorean, but since Rick didn't buy my time machine, I used it to go into the future. I already know he's gonna pay me what I want for this thing.
This is really cool. How much you want for it?
And I'm thinking like $7,500.
Do you have any paperwork with it or anything?
I don't have any paperwork, but I'm sure this is clearly not something you make on a copier.
Let me make some phone calls and we'll get an idea on the price, all right?
Okay.
I'm Danger's Bob Whidden, the prop master on Back to the Future series. And in Back to the Future 2, the whole movie revolved around the almanac and what it did for the future, the present, and the past.
Okay. So you were in charge of making these, right?
Yes, we made about 24 of them. We used just about every one of them. The colors are right on the money. I guarantee it's real. It's one of mine.
Okay, so what's it worth?
As it is, knowing it's one of mine, unfortunately, the signatures are on it, which is going to limit the audience, and I would put a fair value on it of $2,500.
So how much do you want for it now?
You know, I gotta be honest, even though he's the guy that made the thing, I don't know if he's necessarily the expert on selling them.
Nah, he is. He buys and sells this stuff. If Rob sent him down, he knows what he's talking about. Will you take $1,500 for it?
No, I can't. I couldn't do that.
Have a nice day. I mean, literally, we're not gonna come to an agreement.
You know, I'm gonna put it back in its frame, and there's a little part of me that's almost glad he didn't buy it.
Appreciate it, man.
Thanks, man.
Take care.
Maybe it'll be worth something in the future.
There are now two of me here, and there are two of you here. The other me is the Dark Family Brown from 1955. The other me that helps the other you get back to 1985. Remember the lightning bolt at the clock tower?
Yeah.
That event doesn't happen until tonight, so you must be very careful not to run into your other self. Let me give you some money. Have to be prepared for all monetary possibilities. Get yourself some 50s clothes.
Check, Doc.
Something inconspicuous!
Marchy McFly, Marchy McFly. Year 6 of Marchy McFly. Ready or not, Year 6 of Marchy McFly. I'm back, great Scott. It's year 6. 31 straight days for you. In year 6. It's Back to the Future Part 2. Every day. Gonna have a little talk of Marty and Doc. 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 Bing, bang, boom. Bing, bang, boom. Bing, bang, boom. Bing, bang, bing, bang, boom. Happy Friday, everybody. It's Friday, March 20th, which means it's the 20th day of Marchy McFly, the 20th day of Marchy McFly 6, and for the 20th straight day in a row, I am here talking about Back to the Future Part 2
to all of you. And if your headphones are loud enough, maybe the guy or woman sitting next to you on the subway train right now. I don't know why I thought of you on a subway train, but if you are on a subway train, then right now I'm only talking to you. Okay, everyone else ignore. If you're on a subway train, I'm talking to you right now and only you. Listen, don't worry about the person next to you, okay? Maybe they forgot deodorant. It's not a big deal. Do not judge them on that. It might be a bad day. They might have had a long Thursday night. You don't know that, okay? Just get through it. In about 20 to 25 minutes, you'll be off the train and you'll be on your way to work. So just get through this. I will help you along the way as we talk about the next 3 minutes and 20 seconds of Back to the Future Part 2. I really wasn't expecting going there. And as I was talking, I thought, okay, Mike, what have you done? Try to get your way out of this. And I have to say, I think I nailed it. So congratulations to you for getting a chance to hear that. It was, I'm going to stop now and just start focusing on the podcast. It is Friday morning. I'm actually talking to you before work right now. Whether that means this episode comes out before work or not, I'm not sure. Probably not. I just wanted to record it because I'm up early. And I have to tell you something. Speaking of deodorant, I'm wearing it right now. I'm showered. I have deodorant on. I have fresh clothes on. And it is 7:58 a.m. because I have a meeting at 9:30 in the morning. A meeting on a Friday at 9:30. Now, yes, it's a Zoom meeting, but I still want to comb my hair, put on a respectable shirt. I have a little sweater on. And most importantly, I didn't want to wear the same sweater that I had on yesterday when I was meeting with my boss because she's sitting on the meeting and, you know, I don't think she'd care, and she definitely wouldn't say anything about it, but she might notice, he's wearing the same clothes 2 days in a row. But guess what? Luckily for everyone involved in this meeting, I'm at my best right now. And while I'm at my best, I thought it would be a good time to talk about Back to the Future Part 2 to you and get it out to you, to the world early. But before I do, I did want to say that I read a little more of the book, a little more of Back to the Future, the novelization, and there are a couple things that stood out to me. Number one, Marty got back to 1985, and Marty just broke into a house that he thought was his own. Literally, essentially, that's what he did. He was breaking and entering. But in this time, he tried the front door at first, and he's like, my key doesn't work. I would have thought that my key changed with everything else. What I did like was that Marty did notice a few different things, and he chalked it up to, this might be the difference of 1985 since my return from 1955. He has no reason to think that, Biff stole the time machine right behind their back, even though they didn't turn their heads at once. There's no reason to think anything else is different. He's only been in this time for, awake at least for, like 20 minutes. It feels like, he woke up the next day, everything was different, and then Doc took him away. So he really hasn't had that much time to process the fact that, his family might not be the only change that happened in, because of the dance in 1955. I mean, think about it. George punches Biff, and next thing you know, like maybe someone else was watching that going, wow, George McFly did that. I could do something too. I could stick up for something. I can have some courage. And he asks a woman out, and then all of a sudden they fell in love and they have babies. Yet, if George didn't punch that woman, that didn't happen. If George didn't punch Biff, that same guy, maybe 5 years goes by and he meets someone else in college, and then they fall in love and they have children. So George punching Biff and inspiring someone could have changed the fact that a new babies are born and some babies are never born. Like, it definitely could have a larger ripple effect than just making it so Dave McFly doesn't work at Burger King anymore. Like, there are more like possibilities out there. It has a greater effect than they realize. And maybe Marty's noticing this now. Like, he noticed even his neighborhood, like, this there's a lot more going on. He talks about hearing, they smell a fire, they hear gunshots. That can't be gunshots in Hill Valley. I think they talk about, like wrecked cars or garbage on the side of the road. But one thing they do mention is that the sign on the house that they delivered Jennifer in is the Parkers. So my thought is, okay, this is definitely Jennifer Parker's house. Is she in there? Because this 1985 has Marty, in Switzerland at some boarding school, has Doc, he's been, put away in an asylum. So where's Jennifer? Jennifer could be in that house right now. So Jennifer gets up to have a drink of water in the middle of the night. She looks out, it's like, why are there 3 people outside? That Marty, that Doc, he broke out of the asylum. And that McFly kid, I haven't seen him since 7th grade. Like, all these things could be happening, and they don't. And it still doesn't make sense to me that Jennifer will be left there, and everything will change around her. That just doesn't fly with me. It never will fly with me. And when I was reading the book this morning, one other thought came to me. Well, actually, before I get there, in the book, a couple other things happen that make it seem even sadder. When they get Jennifer, when Doc saves Jennifer, she falls, she faints, the other Jennifer faints. Doc catches her, takes her out of the house. They hear in the background Marty Sr. saying, "Kids, your mom is tranked again." So we come to find out what I assume tranked is means she's high. What I think we're finding out is that the 2015 Jennifer Parker is a drug addict, or has a drug problem or something, has a substance abuse problem. And when I look at it that way, it's so depressing. And yet it almost is like, well, wait a second. Were they going for an echoing of the original movie where George, is kind of this pushover who's, he seems happy, but he's just kind of a nothing, a drip, a zero. And Lorraine is, sad, and she's a little just spent, a little beaten down, and has a substance abuse problem. This time we have Marty, who can't be seen as a chicken and doesn't want to be seen as someone who can't afford things. And as his own parents tell his children how he's thrown his life away and he hates his life. Oh, by the way, you're his life, and he hates it. Just terrible things to say. Really a weird choice of words. Nobody thought, wait, should he be saying that to his own children? But and so we have that for Marty, and then Jennifer is or has a substance problem, some sort of tranked problem. So it's almost echoing that. And then the kids are just kind of there. They're just kind of floating through life. So it's almost like history repeating itself. Maybe I'm giving it too much credit, but that's what I'm seeing. But one thing I did want to mention before I talk about these 3 minutes and 20 seconds, the main reason I think that Back to the Future 1 and Back to the Future 3 works better than Back to the Future 2 is because 2 didn't have to happen. Just like that. That's simple. In Back to the Future 1, it was a fish out of water story. It was an accident. Marty accidentally went back to 1955, and we have to figure out a way to get him home. Oh, and in the meantime, he accidentally screws up with his parents' relationship, and he has to fix that too. So that's where all the fun and excitement comes from. In Back to the Future 3, Doc accidentally goes back to 1885. Not 1985, but 1885. He accidentally goes back there. So now Marty's like, oh, well, I guess he wants to live his life out there. But then he finds out that he gets shot in the back by Buford Mad Dog Tannen over a matter of $50. And he realizes, oh no, I can't let that happen. I have to go back and save you. So there is a specific reason he has to go back in the past, because Doc was accidentally put back there. In Back to the Future 2, the ending of Back to the Future is so spectacular. Your kids, Marty, your kids, oh, what a fun time. But oh no, we actually now have to make that part of the movie. They could have said, your kids, something has to be done about your kids. And then they fly away. What's wrong with them? He goes, well, they're kind of nerdy. Maybe we can make them cooler. Well, let's pump the brakes, Doc. Let's go back and, then have a real adventure. Because if this was all real and not, the exciting end of Back to the Future 1 and then trying to have to fit a sequel into that. He'd be like, something has to be done about your kids. And Marty could be like, okay, cool. So when is this? 30 years? All right, let's pump the brakes. Let's come up with a plan. Or how about this? Set a reminder for 29 years and 11 months and remind me to not let my kid go see Griff. Remind me to not let this happen. That's all. And don't let anything get in the way of that. Like you really didn't have to do anything. You could have just waited it out. They jumped ahead, and that's what caused all this turmoil. So kind of the result of the turmoil is where the story comes from, and the excitement comes from. But the whole reason or the effect, I should say, the cause is them going to the future, which did not need to happen in any aspect whatsoever. It's just them having to fit the first movie, the end of the first movie, into the second movie. And so Back to the Future 2 is an unnecessary movie to a degree. And that's why I don't love it as much as 1 and 3. I don't know. And yet I'm loving it. And I love poking holes in it. And that's part of the fun. It's like, I think I've said this before. I have really close friends who I very rarely say anything nice about. You try to insult them and make fun of them, but that's just part of love in my book. Maybe it's a cold, crooked way of looking at love, but it works. It works for me. Otherwise, you're like Don Draper, like when he's in the elevator, he goes, I don't think about you at all. No. I think about Back to the Future Part 2 a tremendous amount. And yes, I'm pulling it apart and I'm picking on it, but I'm doing it out of love. So today we will be talking about the 63-minute and 20-second mark to the 66-minute and 40-second mark. We are over the hour mark, and we are in 1955, where we will spend the remainder of this movie. The remainder of Marchy McFly will all be spent in the year 1955, I guess, unless you count the little trailer, the little preview in the final moments of the month. But we're not there yet, and I'm not going to count that. How about that? I'm not going to count that. So we pick it up right in 1955, where Doc is telling Marty about, we don't want to run into your other self. And Marty's like, wait, your other self? He's like, yeah, the lightning strike? That doesn't happen until tonight. So right now there is another you here and another me here. And I love this scene because for no reason except Doc running back and forth for no reason and Marty keeping up with him. So Doc says, it's very important that you don't run into your other self. Let me give you some money. And he opens this briefcase. And this is when I think, wait, has Doc been storing this money? Has he found this money? Or has he time traveled more than we thought? Because he opens a briefcase and it's filled with different compartments of money that is from all different years. So you can use, which is interesting because you could use 1934 money in 1955. No one's going to think anything of it. But he has 1985, You know what he doesn't want to do, though, is use future money by accident. So it is good to have all these things organized. 1917, 1864, 1902, 1914. Let me see. What else do we see? 1875, 1914 again. 1863, 1860, a lot of 1864s and 1861s. I don't know why maybe he has the actual, it's a lot of the same when I think about it. If you really look, it's 1914. I see 1985. I recognize that $10 bill anywhere. I used that 1985 $10 bill to buy a tape at Caldor, I'm pretty sure. So he's like, get yourself some clothes. Nothing inconspicuous. I love this. This is definitely looks like it's done on a soundstage, and there's a matte painting of the sun rising in the background. And I think it's, I don't want to say it's beautiful, but I love it. It's like, I love matte paintings used in movies. I think of Indiana Jones. I think of Star Wars. And I think that's what we're seeing here. And I've always liked, I talked about earlier this month, Marty has these iconic looks of the vest, the puffer vest, and the jeans. That's his look. That's the Marty McFly look. However, Marty McFly at the beginning of this movie, in the future, that's a pretty cool look too. I think that was his second most iconic look. Maybe. And then I thought about, well, he has that 1955 look where he's wearing those clothes, while he's kind of, living a week in 1955. Then there's the night of the dance. So he has some cool looks, or quote unquote Marty McFly centric iconic looks. I think I underrated this one. This one is pretty funny. He's, something inconspicuous. He's in a leather jacket. He's in a black fedora. He's got sunglasses, and he looks the exact opposite of inconspicuous. These walkie-talkies. Now, this is 1955, so maybe there's not as much radio interference. Actually, there'd probably be more radios than ever. But this walkie-talkie seems to work pretty fine with Doc calling into Marty, or Marty calling out to Doc. We don't see Doc here, but it's the next day, or it's not the next day. It's later in the day. And Marty is outside the only Tannen in the phone book, Gertrude Tannen's house. And there's a sign outside that says, "No trespassing. Violators will be prosecuted. This means you." There's also a lawn jockey that looks like shockingly racist. If what I'm seeing is correct. Another sign says, "Keep off the grass." It definitely looks like an old lady's house, a racist old lady's house. And however, though, it is where Biff lives. He lives with his grandmother. Now, he's also the voice of his grandmother, the one yelling about Biff. And he's like, "I'm going out, you old bag." So that's Thomas Wilson doing the voice as well as seeing him as young Biff. It has now been 4 years since Back to the Future. We're seeing the young version of Biff here. And it kind of worked out. They didn't have a Star Wars to Empire Strikes issue that they had with Mark Hamill when he get in a car accident or something, and he got his face cut up. So they had to basically have that snow monsters slap him in the face, and that was caused the scarring on his face, right, between Star Wars and Empire. Biff, Lorraine, and Marty, 4 years have passed, and they really, maybe if you put them side by side, you might notice a difference, but it is almost indistinguishable how they haven't aged and how, they look exactly the same to me, again, not comparing things. But he's going out, he's going to pick up his car. This is when, again, no one has peripheral vision in this movie. If Biff just looks up, he would see Marty standing there staring at him with binoculars and then walking along with him. Instead, we get to see Biff bully some kids who are looking for their ball. He ends up throwing it up on a balcony. He says, "Go get it." So Marty now is following Biff. Now, remember we said back at the beginning in 2015, as much as I try not to talk about it, surf Vietnam. Now I'm seeing 10 days in Cuba. Ask for details. So I guess you can vacation in Cuba. Was that a thing in the 50s? Maybe it was. Didn't Cuba have like an influx of fancy cars in the 50s too? Like, I don't know. I learned that. Everything I learned about Cuba was in like 5 minutes of Fast and the Furious. So now Marty is literally in downtown walking behind cars. He's not only inconspicuous to Biff, nobody notices him. Not one person seems to notice that this guy is creepingly crouched down behind a car following Biff. It's almost like he's invisible. It's almost like he doesn't, like he's a ghost in a sitcom. Like, they can't see you, Marty. They can't see you, but they could, and no one glances at him at all. Now, maybe did Biff kill Marty in 1985, and it's been a ghost, and only Doc can see him? That would be something. So we now get to see kind of the other, the moment where Biff picks up his car. Remember at the end of Back to the Future, he's like, "You cost $300 damage to my car. I'm going to take it out of your ass," or whatever he says. Now we get to see him actually picking up his car, and we once again see Charles Fleischer. He was the old guy in 2015 who tried to get Marty to save the clock tower for $100. He's also kind of the reason all this happened, because he put it in Marty's head to, "I wish I could go back and bet on the Cubbies." Now we see the younger version of him. He's the car guy. He's fixing the car. He's the one who's charging Biff $300. He's like, $300, that's bullshit. He goes, no, Biff, it was horse shit. And they had to have Jones' manure take it all away. And Biff's like, he probably got to resell all that. That's true. So Jones shows up, charges them to take the manure out of the car, even though it was his manure to begin with, and then gets to resell it. So he's making a killing. So he's like, if I ever find out who did this, I'm going to kill him. He's very angry. And now we see old Biff. We don't know where the DeLorean is. We have no answer to that. We just have to go with how things are going here. And Biff is just looking over and he's kind of smiling and it's funny. He's not angry. It's almost like he's kind of calmed down in his age. It's like he's laughing about it. It's like the manure truck. I remember that. Like he finds it kind of funny. But again, he doesn't keep looking, because if he did, he would have turned and he would have seen young Marty or someone. Maybe he wouldn't recognize who it was right away. No, he would have, because he just saw McFly in 2015, like 20 minutes ago or a couple hours ago. He would have seen young Marty jump into the back of the car. That's what you're going to do. That's how you're going to sneak away, because, again, no one in this movie has any sort of peripheral vision or any sort of awareness of what's around them. So Marty could have just sat in the back seat. He didn't have to cover himself with a blanket. He could have sat in the back seat. Biff wouldn't look in the rearview mirror once, because that's not how it works in this movie. So Biff does walk off. We don't know exactly where he's going, but I'm pretty sure we're going to see him again tomorrow. And the old Biff, I should say. Young Biff comes out. He's angry. Marty covers himself in a blanket, and it's kind of funny that Terry, the Charles Fleischer character, he's giving Biff 4 quarts of motor oil as a thank you, along with the $300 he's charging him. And Biff just like blindly takes the motor oil and throws it in the back of the car, and it lands on Marty. That's kind of funny. But again, why he wouldn't look, why he wouldn't see it, and why Marty would look under his blanket is doesn't make any sense to me. So Biff is about to leave, and then he looks over, and a big smile on his face, because he looks over and there's Lorraine Baines, the girl that he has a crush on, well, he likes, and he basically is crushing on her, and he's one of these guys who doesn't want to take no for an answer, as we learn in Back to the Future later on this day, November 12th, 1955. So we see Lorraine with her friend. It's the same friend from the first movie, the same one who was at the diner kind of giving George this look like, what the hell? The same one who was at the locker. There were 2 of them, but we only have 1 of them back here in this movie. And we see the dress. So Lorraine just picked up the dress, maybe from the dress shop or the dry cleaner, and she's all excited. This is the dress she's going to go to the dance with Calvin Klein tonight. And you see Biff. Biff has this look on his face, like a big smile, like he's like, oh, he's happy to see her. Like it's almost genuine, but I think he's also thinking, oh, I'm going to, wow her by looking really cool. And he pops his collar. He kind of goes around a car and he says, well, looky what we have here. And he's trying to, act all cool for Lorraine. And Marty can't help himself, gets up out of the blanket and looks. Because, again, if they just turned, they would be like, Calvin, what are you doing in the back of Biff's car? Hey, what are you doing in the back of my car, you punk? Like, nope, nobody looks. Instead, we see Biff walk up behind Lorraine. And he's like, looky what we have here. He's like, ooh, nice dress. He goes, though, I think you'd look better wearing nothing at all. And he starts to lift up her dress. Okay, boom, right there, assault, put him in jail. And Lorraine's like, Biff. And she starts, she's pissed off. She starts walking away in a huff with her friend. And she's like, why don't you take a long walk off a short pier? And Biff starts talking about the dance and how he's basically asking her to the Enchantment Under the Sea dance. He says he got his car fixed, and basically he wants to cut her a break by letting her have the honor of going with him to the dance. And she's like, I'm busy. He's like, busy doing what? She goes, I'm washing my hair. He goes, oh, that's about as funny as a screen door. And that's where this clip ends. So the final moment, you see Lorraine's friend has a big smile on her face because of the insult that she just said to Biff, how she wants him to walk off a pier and drown in some water. I'm assuming that's what she means. He starts talking about a screen door, which, did they say a screen door on a battleship? And it should be, we know he gets it wrong, but we'll find out that tomorrow. But Lorraine looks pissed. She does not look happy at all. I'll tell you though, Leah Thompson's probably happy because she's not, under, 3 inches of prosthetics and all this makeup and fake boobies. She could just be herself here, just a nice old 50s haircut, and get ready for the big dance with Calvin Klein tonight. Even though that whole thing, when you really realize that she's just a pawn in Marty's scheme, and George's scheme, it actually turns out being genuine when Biff comes in to be a complete monster. But that's so last year. I don't think we don't focus on any of that in this one. We see a little bit. We see the end. We see the big punch. But that again, I'm talking way ahead of things. But we don't worry about what Biff is actually doing in the car in the first place. That the horrific thing that he has planned. And I wonder if this moment and the end of this conversation has something to do with it as well. He gets really angry. But that's not for today. Today, he thinks he's got an in with her. He's still pissed off about the fact that he's had to pay $300 to have his car cleaned. And Marty, he's just basically keeping an eye on him to make sure that old Biff, that he can get the almanac after old Biff thinks he succeeds. But luckily, no one notices anything. So Marty doesn't notice old Biff is there. Old Biff doesn't know Marty is there. Young Biff doesn't know Marty's there. Nobody sees anybody. And that allows the story to continue. And as I'm saying these words, it is now 8:29 a.m. and I need to go start my workday now. So this episode will come out sometime during today, but not right away in the morning because I have work to do and I have a meeting in an hour, like I said. So we are all done here for today, but as you know, I'll be back again tomorrow to do this all over again. However, if you don't want to wait to hear from me or to interact with me or to see hilarious posts from me, you could follow me on social media. You can go everywhere at Geek Mentality except TikTok, which is Geek Mentality Mike. If you're on TikTok, follow me, Geek Mentality Mike. The Facebook page is Fans Not Experts. The YouTube channel is Fans Not Experts. That's because the website is fansnotexperts.com. That is it. I am done. I will see you tomorrow, my friends. Can you tell, the house is empty? I'm a little louder. I'm a little less worried about, bothering people by podcasting. Yes, that's right. The house is empty, and this episode's done. That's why I'm louder and I'm projecting. I will see you tomorrow, my friends. But until then, thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. And here is my theme song.
This is my podcast, I made it. Geek Mentality's what I named it. And I think you should listen and subscribe. 'Cause I'm kinda funny and awesome. I think that I'm worth your time. And I'm kinda handsome, my mom says. Please listen and please subscribe. At least listen to this episode.
Fans Not Experts.